Are there any other blue people, bro, that you can think of besides Avatar and Smurf?
There's gotta be, right? Oh well, obviously, what's her name from X-Men?
Oh my gosh. Dude, what is her name?
M-
It's like that invisibility chick, huh?
Mysterio. Why am I forgetting?
She has like scales.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
attracted to reptiles now.
yeah. Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
dude.
not great. Well, I mean, see,
Just
sometimes
kidding.
you try to be understanding.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you can only be so understanding, dude. If your homies tell you some crazy shit, it's like you want to support them, but you also have to be like, dog, where's your head been?
That's the real support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's your head at, bro? Let's. You know what I
Let's
mean?
get it reattached and all of
Back
that
on
jazz.
and get it all going. But yeah, man. Anywho's,
Yeah. Yeah, dude, always our first topics are so strange.
that's good. I think you got to get it out. You know what I mean? Get it out right off the rip. I'm all good about the eggs and all that though. That's all good, man. I'll pay for the eggs or whatever. I'll pay for them eggs. It's okay, man. I'm not tripping on the eggs.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people were tripping on the eggs a couple months ago.
I feel like they're always so cheap.
They were like, oh, a
I get
dozen
it though.
is...
I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, respect, man. The eggs
Yeah.
were cheap, bro.
I think it's when there's anything that you normally buy that goes up, it's like, what the fuck, man?
Totally.
Yesterday I was getting this
So I
same
get it,
product
yeah.
for this amount, and today it's like this much more.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I remember we did that at Albertsons, bro. I was in Fresh Cut, like the
Mhm.
department in produce that made like the ready-to-go like fruit bowls and vegetable trays.
Oh, okay.
And there was a point a couple years into when I was working where they decreased the bowl size, but they kept the price, right? So that it held way less fruit, but it was still like $5 for the thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think it was very awkward at first when there were still those old sizes on the thing,
Mm-hmm.
because then people are like, why are these the same? But then, after a day or a week, it's like it's all the new product. But it's just interesting, man. It's interesting. And I think that's a move that you probably do when you're trying to make profits as big as they can be.
Yeah, like why isn't this Subway foot long 12 inches type vibe?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Take
yeah,
out the
yeah,
tape
yeah,
measure.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is actually 11 inches,
What's
sir.
going on here? I remember like some lawsuit, someone trying to go through with that. I don't even actually remember if that like went through or not. But someone
Yeah.
definitely tried to sue.
If you're going to advertise a $5 footlong, bro, make sure that it's 12 inches.
Yeah, man.
Like,
For now, and I'm pulling up prepared.
yeah.
Bro, hey, what's up with this, man? At every sub spot, and I love subs, bro. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Quiznos.
Man, Quiznos. I don't even think I ever tried Quiznos, dude.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of disappointed, man, because I just remember the commercials, and I was like, dang, dude, Quiznos and Subway going at it.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting crazy. But then, like, I never even had a Quiznos.
Yeah.
Nowhere nearby, so I never went to
Well,
Quiznos.
And we only had them here for like a while. I think they got rid of them or something. But
Oh, you had them here?
yeah,
That's
dude,
crazy,
I think we
bro.
used to have them because I remember going into like one or
What?
two as a kid, and I
Yeah.
don't think it was when we were traveling.
Okay.
But yeah, bro.
Solid, bro. Quiznos. Hey, if we can find one, man, I should see if there's some out there because I'm down.
yeah, dude, at least try it.
Yeah.
Because it's, I think, Subway's biggest probably like competitor in some regions. But speaking of that, dude, I think it's like some stores like Toys R Us. I think they still have those in like Canada, but here they're like completely wiped out. So I think sometimes things that we don't have that we used to have, some other places might have that. Dude, I just hit the mic so sick, and
Yeah,
it
dude,
doesn't
give me-
sound bad out here. But dude, once I get into editing, it's
Getting
gonna be like a
aggressive.
crazy fucking yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
It's optimal for me when there's a noise I have to take out. It's like either like me doing something when you're talking or you're doing something when I'm talking. That's the best because it's hard, dude, when there's a noise in both clips because
Right.
then you just kind of have to like leave it in there, which
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense when you're watching the video because you have context to what that noise was.
Yeah.
But if you're just an audio listener, you have no idea and it's kind of not the best experience.
Right.
So that's why I told you before we should try to move these as less as possible.
As leasing as possible.
Yeah.
As lessened as possible. Just want to get real proper here.
Yeah, dude.
Just totally not proper, but anyways.
Well, okay, and then
Yeah.
I did have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, we are going to share off the course a little bit, but in all of the relationships that you have been in, like what are some of the things that you have learned? And I know I'm putting you on the spot right here,
Mm.
but like in all of your relationships, like what are the things that you've taken away that you're like, okay, that actually help me, whether it be a good or bad thing?
I mean, relationships are pretty complex, I feel like. So there's a lot of things that can be learned just depending on the relationships you go through. So I
Yeah.
feel like it can be personal, but on like some overall general stuff that I feel like, I've learned and people can learn is just how to, you know, be around someone and work with someone a lot of the time, like how to collaborate with somebody, with a single other person, like consistently, you know? And I think that's a valuable thing that can be in any kind of relationship, whether it be with a girlfriend or with friends or with anything. I think that's the biggest thing to learn from it. Um, is is how to value people, understand people, listen, and how to connect with people. I think that's always a good thing. Is to appreciate the good times and the connections you have with people. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I learned.
So just kind of getting to know somebody, getting to know their quirks and whatever, and then
Mm,
them getting to know yours,
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah. It's just how
Being
to
able to be around somebody.
totally be around someone, how to work together, a lot. And I think it's good, like in one-on-one relationships. I also think it's good even in like team environments and stuff like that. I think those things are like really important. It's like how you connect with people. I think that's what keeps people together. If everyone was just off solo, it would, we're just not
Yeah.
like that. I think
True. We're social beings.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I think that's a big thing that, I learned from relationships. Just all kinds, That's why I like interacting with people. I think that's the biggest thing is interacting with people, learning how different people interact. Um, and really understanding someone. So if you're around a single person, a lot of the time you get to understand somebody and you kind of understand more or less how people can operate. And I think
Yeah.
that's important to empathy and understanding, and how we actually connect on a deeper level with people. So yeah, that's what I'd say on some deep
I,
shit.
I really like that answer, bro. And is there anything too where it's like, and this is just like an outside perspective, I think it might be true, to where like when you're with somebody, they see all of you, especially if you live with them, then they're just always seeing you. Is it ever a thing where like your significant other can bring up issues and things about yourself that you didn't know about and then you can change those? Like, has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, some perspectives, a different perspective. That's a good point to bring up. I think that's always a good thing. You get another perspective, an outside perspective, always when you interact with somebody else. And if they're true and honest with you, and they're around you a lot, then they probably have a pretty good insight on how you are. So they could have a good, probably some good advice on things you could work on. So
Yeah. Like
I'd
things that
100%
might
agree on
bother
that.
them that you do that you didn't even realize because you've just been doing that and you don't know
Hmm.
how it affects other people.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I think that's definitely a benefit. If you guys actually talk and communicate well. I think in any relationship to be good and to connect on a deeper level is just to be able to communicate at all times. Because then, yeah, I think that's when you actually learn stuff about somebody and you could actually help each other. Just that's like one of the most important things in communication, I think.
Okay.
Definitely. So that's a big thing I think you learn. You just kind of naturally learn it because you're around it. You're like, if I'm gonna deal with this, then I got to figure out how to maneuver and actually how to do this properly. At least for the ones that last a long time and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. Yeah.
Okay. So then those are things that you've learned from. And then as far as like red flags and stuff, like what are your red flags and what do you look for that could be a potential problem to the relationship?
I mean, it really just depends on. I mean, there's definitely general ones. Depends obviously on people's needs and certain goals they have in their life.
Yeah.
To see if it actually aligns with their stuff. So it definitely depends, but I think not being able to communicate is definitely a big red flag because like
And what
that's
does that look
gonna
like?
be a big problem.
Is that just something that's maybe on their mind that's bothering them that they're not
If they feel like,
exploring?
yeah, if
Like,
if they feel like they can't actually talk to you, and they have to talk to somebody else, or they just say I'm okay, and they just don't talk to you and they don't open up, then I think that's a bad sign.
yeah, for sure. Because then
Yeah.
it's like for the future of the relationship, these things might come up and then you might not just know about them because you've seen this behavior pattern.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got to be on both sides. Being able to communicate and talk, I think, is the biggest thing because then you could actually just work through all the problems. And then if you just have solid communication, you could literally understand all the problems and be like, hey, I see this is like an issue. Can we, address that? And, this is a red flag for me. I see this as an issue. And if they're like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
you know, that's the thing. I think if you communicate and you can dive deeper, then it's just more efficient. You don't waste your time. You're just like, okay, I'm not down with that. Then,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
And then obviously the communication goes both ways, right? Like you need your partner to communicate, but you also have to communicate. And I feel like a sign, if you're in a relationship, and it doesn't even have to be like romantic or whatever, but if you're like feeling things that you don't feel like comfortable expressing, you're probably not communicating well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably like a good sign for people out there to like evaluate from.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. So if you see, there's definitely like, you could have like a list of different things that are like red flags
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I think it really just comes down to that. And yeah, just realizing that if that person's not talking with you,
Yeah.
and is not understanding you, then I don't think somebody can be caring if they don't actually,
Yeah.
understand and they don't communicate well. So being empathetic as well, I think is a big thing. Being caring, that's a big thing for me.
Okay.
Somebody that just cares and actually listens, because at the end of the day, for it to work, that's part of the communicating. Is somebody that you have to listen, be able to talk and listen. So it's both parts of that. So that's also a big thing, I think, which also falls under the communicating.
Okay, and then again, what is listening like? Is that just like when they have to vent or whatever, you're just there and you're present and listening? Like what is that?
Yeah, if that's what they need and you're down with that, and then really understanding, and then I think trying to come up with a solution.
Okay, understanding where they're coming from, what they might be dealing with already going into this problem. Okay, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, so that's I think empathy is being understanding. Empathy, I think, is a strong thing that is important in any kind of relationship. I just think empathy is a superpower, and if people have that in the relationship, the communication is good, and then you have a pretty good emotional understanding of
Yeah.
that person, because they can actually relay that a lot better instead of having it, hidden and pent up.
Yeah, 100%. And then when you are actually honest with what's bothering you and whatever, you can now move forward. Before the other person is aware of what's going on, you can't really move forward because they just don't know. So yeah, you just got to be really like, really, really honest and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah, 100%, bro. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, like literally in any relationship that you have in life. Just be empathetic, understanding, and then decide, man, like if you have to, take time to do your stuff. I think that falls under being understanding as well, cuz like if you're like, man, I need this and that and this is something I got to work on and this and that, and being like, okay, yeah, I trust you. Understand that. Trust is a big thing as well. I think with anything, loyalty, trust,
Yes.
and if you communicate well, you can get through all of that stuff. The thing is, people won't communicate well if you don't have all those things. If you don't have trust in somebody, if you don't believe somebody's empathetic and actually understanding of how you feel, you're not going to want to talk to them at all.
So, okay, then how do you say you get in a relationship? How do you start to develop that trust? What are some things you're doing? Are you just being honest with them about things to open up the door of you can tell me secrets, I can tell you secrets, or how does that go?
No, I think a lot of relationships, good ones, start like that, where you're just like, you could either be friends or you know the person, you meet the person, and you guys just like really talk on a deeper level, and you actually have like a
Yeah.
good conversation.
Yeah, it's like when
And-
you're feeling good after the
Yeah,
conversation.
and you're like,
right?
dang, this person's like really letting me know who they are and
Yeah.
really opening up. And it's feeling comfortable is a big thing. So I think noticing that off rip, it's like, okay, this person's very comfortable around me. I think we can communicate well, and they can open up more. And I
Okay.
think that those are the ones that end up being pretty good, because you already are more comfortable with that person. When it just feels awkward,
Yeah.
there's just not that communication there, not that understanding, not that trust. So I think really it's down to that. You know what I mean? I think starting with that kind of stuff. I see it a lot, just in relationships in general. If they start off as friends, they kind of understand each other more, stuff like that. So yeah, really, I think it all falls under that: loyalty, communication, understanding, and I think a lot of relationships can start like that and they get confusing. So it's like on a whole other level, but you learn it as you go. It's just sometimes hard to. It's between two different people, so it's hard to like have two different perspectives sometimes in relationships.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, especially when the
it's
ego's
hard to be
involved.
understanding about everything.
Yeah.
So that's the thing,
Yeah.
where there's loops. So you got, I think, but you also have to understand how you feel as well. So I think two strong, independent people, that come together, that's ultimate relationship, because it's not we have to be together.
Yeah.
We're not dependent on each other. It's like we are independently strong, but together, we're even stronger. You know what I mean? To where like we all have our strong suits and like we're good on our own, but then when we come together, it's like even stronger. So that's the thing. It's like fitting the puzzle pieces. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, when you feel like things are better when you're working with this person.
Yeah, because I think the thing with relationships, if they feel an imbalance, like, hey, I'm not getting this and I'm not getting that, there's constant imbalances. But if you're able to like work through that and actually get the right fit, then that's like the best kind of relationships. And to do that, I think you have to independently be like, I'm independently understanding of this stuff. You have to be strong enough to even be understanding of somebody else's situation. I think to be really be genuinely empathetic, you have to be strong to be able to understand other people's feelings. You have to
Yeah,
be
not take it
intelligent in that
personally.
stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Like maybe
man.
they're acting this way because that was the only way they could act as a kid instead of they're acting this way because they hate me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so to be able to understand and communicate, you have to
Yeah.
be an intellectual, I think, in that sense, to be understand if someone's actually being true about their feelings. I think it's just a good thing to understand so you can maneuver well through relationships just more efficiently. And I think that's the important thing, knowing how to maneuver efficiently through relationships, truthfully and all that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's one of those hardest things, man, is like when you're in a relationship, it can be the greatest thing ever, right? And then when you break up, it can feel like the world's ending. Like
Mhm.
it's such a dynamic dance in relationships of emotions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, life's interesting, like that for sure. I think you always kind of trying to find a balance in life with relationships and even with yourself, and there's always constantly imbalances because there's always different things thrown in there, different variables. Like just life is like that, and I think it's kind of fun to enjoy the ride,
Yeah.
like that. And I think that's when you can find it. You just have to understand that is kind of like part of life. There's those ups and downs and like everything,
Yeah.
you know.
My hardest, like the hardest part for me is like being okay with the pain. Like it's
Mm,
so hard for me to be okay with the pain. Even though I should be, it's like
yeah.
my mind is like I shouldn't feel this way and we need to get out of this.
Okay.
Instead of being like this is happening because of this and that,
Mm,
you know? It's
okay.
kind of just like that automatic reaction that I think every human has. It's like when things get uncomfortable, bro, you want to get out. You want to like escape from that situation.
Yeah, I think there's the two kinds of people they talk about, fight or flight. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of the times I think you have to find somewhere in the middle, as well in that. And if you're always just kind of running away from the solution that you have to
Yeah.
find, then you get stuck in this loop as well. But
Yeah.
if you're fighting it, intelligently and actually coming up with more solutions, you actually learn a lot more from that. And I think, that's something to learn. That's actually how you learn. I think is sometimes, in those situations not reacting in that way of like kind of how you were saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, where it's like it's very like flight behavior.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a natural instinct, right,
It
that we
is.
have to
It is.
protect ourselves. And I think it can get awkward to fight against that, but that is where I think the progression and the growth comes. And that's where you actually learn from, the situations, and the hardships or, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think you'll ever want kids any one of these days, bro? Like down the line or anything?
At this point, I don't know, man. Not really. Just because there's a lot of things I want to do. So,
Yeah, and that would be a block in the way of things.
yeah, it's just hard to think.
Yeah.
I want to be in a good situation if that was even a thing. You
So
know
you would
what I
want to
mean?
be financially independent?
Financially. And then just really want to be there, like, emotionally, and just want
Yeah,
to,
of
like,
course. Because that's like one of the biggest parts, right? It's
that's,
like,
like, the most important relationship, I
yeah.
think, is the one you have if you have a kid.
If you can just be true to your word and set the example that you want your kid to live by, that's probably the best way to do it, man. Because you can tell them one thing and do the other, and they'll do whatever you're doing. So, like, if you want them to act a certain way, like, be that person.
100%, bro. That's someone, like, you have to be able to look up to them and respect them.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
have to, like, stand by your word and show them the way. Absolutely,
Yeah.
like you're
And
saying.
well, that's
Lead
why I
by
think, dude,
example.
we'll be good dads, like, no matter what, because we already have, like, pieces of knowledge like that. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
scary for everybody, and, like, you're in the unknown.
Mhm.
But I just think we're on already, like, a good level.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Is that what you're thinking? You want kids or what?
Eventually, not soon,
Oh, okay.
but like eventually, like I'm
Yeah.
26, so maybe when I'm like 30 or like in my 30s,
That's
you
the
know.
thing that usually happens with dudes. It's like 30s, mid 30s, I think.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
like when you can get more financially set and more stable a lot of the time.
And I think it's a good move because
Yeah.
I was scared to death, bro, in high school. Even now, to have kids, bro.
Oh, man.
Like every time I'm with a chick, I'm
I'm
like,
still
"Are
broke.
you on birth control? Like, are we gonna be okay?"
Yeah. I'm broke, bro. I'm like taking care of myself barely.
Yeah, dude.
Like me and my girl, like we together. That's the thing, bro. That's also useful about relationships. And now with the financial stuff, you can come together and it can be very useful and very
True
helpful.
though.
If you're both on top of it, you know. And
True,
thankfully,
though.
I am in a relationship where it's like that.
Yeah.
Cause man, it would be rough if I wasn't. I don't got funds like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that helps a lot. I
Yeah,
think,
dude.
For sure.
And I think that's been like the tough thing for me because, like I said, I decided to take a break from relationships and all that because I wanted to be able to like pursue my stuff. And I kind of ignored the growth of a relationship. Like when you're with someone, you grow and you learn. I just felt like when I found a chick, it would be serious and we'd be locked down for a very long time. And I didn't want to be locked down so soon and then with one person and then be like, well, I wanted to explore. Like, there's so much out there and like so many different types of women. Like, you know, so I just didn't really want to be like locked down. But now I'm reevaluating that stance. And I think that at this current point, like we kind of talked about, it's probably not like the best. Like, I feel like I could benefit off like a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of back to what I'm saying. As long as you are independently in the right situation
Yeah.
to be in a relationship,
That's the thing,
you want to
too.
make sure it's good off rip, man. Like to the
Right.
best of your ability.
Like, you're not going to them because you have lack and you feel like they're going to fix everything, which is going to be like hard for me because that's what I've always done.
That happens
know?
a lot, man. Misery loves company, bro.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time people are just like, man, I just need to be around somebody, feel loved, and this stuff. But but really to think where it's like that mindset I'm saying, where it's like that growth, where it's like, okay, I want to work on some stuff with you and actually like see something beneficial and make your life, you know, more interesting or better, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and click on that kind of level. I think is important, and that's the thing I think to look for. You know, I think that's the biggest thing when you see that, where it's like, okay, this person's cool, I can talk to them, and then I could see where they're not gonna make my life harder, but we can actually
Yes.
both benefit each other's lives, because that's awesome. That's the great thing about collaboration.
And that, along with physical attraction,
oh, of course,
It's great,
absolutely,
bro.
Yeah, because that's you just gotta be honest. That's all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, straight up, bro. But that's a good topic to bring up all that stuff. I think it's
it's
important.
important, dude.
Yeah, going into the new year and then being around your loved ones too for Christmas and all that. My Christmas is different this year than usual. But, you know, I'm just grateful to be able to communicate to my family, you know, whether it's via, you know, video call or on the phone, whatever it is. Like, I'm grateful to be able to do that, talk to them, and, you know, hopefully see them around, like, the Christmas time. So it's, like, it's good to be able to always kind of be able to communicate with the family now. That's one thing I really like about having the phone and all that. Even if your family's all over the place, you can still like talk to them around these
Yeah.
times, you
Yeah,
know,
you can
because
reach
stuff
out.
comes up all the time, bro. That's the thing I realized about getting older. Like stuff just comes up, even if it's Christmas and all this. You're like, it's holidays, you can plan around it, but it's not like everyone's like got other stuff going on. It's not always set in stone and this and that around the
Yeah.
holidays. And that's what I'm saying about just like, yeah, being understanding where it's like some people's holidays are going different, you know, however it is, this and that, and just to be grateful, whatever it is, to have any kind of like family member or somebody or a friend around
Mhm.
Christmas to be like, that's the boy, bro. It's about being given, you know,
Yeah.
and shit too. So I think it's good just to cherish relationships. I think it's an important part of, you know, Christmas. I think that's like a
It
big
is.
thing about it.
And it's so important and so overlooked. And not just for Christmas, bro, but for life in general.
Yeah.
Because there's so many situations where we can take things for granted on a daily basis that like are so amazing. Like we were talking about like 1,000 years ago or whatever, like the types of stuff they would have and all that, like how people say nowadays we live better than kings that were back in the days. We just have more access to food and everything. And one of the hardest things is to like be grateful and overcome that kind of like victim mindset. But it is also like one of the best things that you could probably do,
Yeah.
you know, and just try not to get frustrated with yourself if you're trying to think about things that you're grateful for and you just can't. Like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just like work on that and think about what are things that just make you feel good, you know, like family, friends, having a place to live, having shelter, having an income, like whatever it is. Like, there's something to be grateful for.
100%, bro. That's the thing. Like, it's that perspective of like, there's always something to be grateful for.
Yes.
For
And
you
our
know,
life
and
is
comparing,
determining. Our life determines our. Okay, I got this.
He's a
I got this.
wordsmith.
This is like when Aristotle came up with quotes. He was like trying different things.
So, man. All right, hold up. Oops.
But-
So write that down again.
Yeah. But basically, your perspective and your emotions that you're feeling and your thoughts dictate your life. So if you're able to get into that gratitude state more often, then you would be able to, you know, we're getting into the whimsical shit now that people might think, but you'll be able to attract more into your life, and it'll just be an overall better thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just a good mindset to always be in is the positive, which is, I think, gratitude, you know?
Yeah.
Is one of the really heavy positives of life is just being like, cool. I mean, it's just kind of recognizing the positives, I think.
Yeah, what's going well, what's going okay.
Yeah. Yeah, especially around this time, I think that's the thing, man. So,
Yeah.
you know, tell people too, man. Give out some gifts and all. I think that's the thing.
Yes.
We got to be willing to give and receive all that kind of stuff, you know?
100%.
Yeah, I think that's an important part around this time as well.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, get together, sing some Christmas carols, all that holly jolly stuff, bro.
Yeah,
you know,
go check out the
people be
River
there.
of Lights, all that.
Yeah, all that good stuff. 100%. Yeah, bro. So are you doing any fun winter activities? You building if we have snow?
I want
Snowmen?
to. Like, I'd be
Snow
down to do a
angels?
snow angel, snowman. I would also like to go like sledding. Because we've already talked about it, but I'm on like a pretty strict budget right now, so I really want to go snowboarding with you, but financially, it's not gonna work right now
Hear me out.
until I'm employed.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
I found some kind of solution. I wanted to suggest this.
You want to spit it?
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna spit it right here. So I know you're talking about doing some street boarding and stuff like that. If we
Yeah.
have enough snow, like maybe in Santa Fe or something.
That'd be awesome.
So Sandia actually opened, or it's opening. I don't
Yeah, you
know.
were mentioning that. Is there? I
It's
can't even.
starting at $19
Okay, for a day pass.
for a day. No, 3 trails, man, but it's $19.
Okay.
Okay. So when you have some income coming in, just think about that.
Yeah, and I still do have to hit up some friends and see what gear I can borrow. I don't know how much gear I could borrow, because if it could be everything, then I'd be set. But I'll just have to coordinate, because
I
it'd be
wonder
from
what
a
their
different
rentals
couple
are. If it's,
people. Yeah,
it might be like $50 to go up there. Is what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Which that'd be sick.
that would be.
So
and
that's
doable.
possible if it stays like that.
Yeah.
So I just saw that because I was just going going up to ski Santa Fe and stuff, and we were talking about it. Then Eileen showed me. And I'm like, no way. It's open, dude.
It's open now, or is it
Sandia.
gonna be open?
I think it's. I don't know if it's open now or it's gonna be open because I saw it said buy early passes, so I think it's going to be open. Yeah, because I saw different prices for different dates, so it sounds like people are buying it up. Kids are free,
Okay.
totally.
Do you think
free.
I could be disguised? Shave my beard. Hello. Like, hi guys.
You can
Hi, guys.
try.
I was wondering if I could get a rental.
So, okay, well, who's? They're gonna be like, who's bringing you here, buddy? Who you with here, little man? Okay.
I did find some new information on a couple of alts, brother. When I was playing New Vegas yesterday, I stumbled across a couple, and
Did you?
I have a couple ideas. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Stumbled across Vault 3.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways,
Good. This
Yeah.
is good. I'm glad to hear you're doing the research on the vaults.
you got to. There's so many.
is
I
a
at least want
little
to have some
sneak
knowledge
peek.
of some of them,
Yeah.
or else it's just gonna be like.
Oh yeah. Anyways, those are cool stuff. Cool theory. Yeah, you ought
Yeah.
to be able to talk about it for like
Yeah,
10 minutes.
cool stuff, fucktards. Like,
Yeah. Super sick, dude. There's a bunch of, there's 1 and 2 and all those. There's a bunch of numbers and they're different
Yeah.
stuff. Really cool.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll go deep into that. That'll be interesting. That'll be fun.
Okay, can you be my financial advisor really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this thing I've been thinking about, and like, I'm not sure if it's a good idea. I feel like it might not be, but I want to get your opinion.
Okay.
So the last thing that we need in order to get guests on is this interface.
Okay.
I found this interface on Amazon for $130. Amazon is currently doing a thing to where if you sign up for their Prime Visa, you get a $150 gift card to Amazon for free. Meaning, I could get the interface, we could have guests on ASAP, but by doing that, I would be opening a new credit line. So the question I have for you is that worth it or is that not worth it?
Okay, so this is a credit card.
Yes.
It's an Amazon credit card.
Yes. Visa.
I personally haven't looked into it, so I have no clue about that specific card. If you use Amazon a lot, and, I mean, it's okay to open up a new line of credit as long as you keep it open
Right,
and you
that's
just
the
pay
problem,
it off.
right?
Yeah, as long as you pay it off, keep it open. As long as you don't make it like another one that screws you over.
Yeah.
It will drop your overall length of history on your credit report. So we'll take a ding to your credit. And as long as you know that you will qualify, just make sure to look up what it is, the recommended credit score that you need to have.
Okay, so that brings me to another question. Right now, I have 2 lines of credit. Do you think 3 is too much to have 3 credit cards? Even though they all have different limits. I have one that has a limit of 500, right? Like one that's bigger, whatever.
No, I have 3.
Okay. So 3's not bad.
No, not at all. I mean, you can have more just as long as you don't close them down. It's okay to have more, actually. It's better to have more.
But then you have the card and okay, so yeah, then you just have more cards is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You just have more cards in your wallet.
That's it. You just have more cards. Just as long as you pay it off just like any other card, at some point, if you did
Yeah.
use it a lot and you just paid it off normally, then it would actually help your credit score.
Okay.
Just as long as you don't make it hurt your credit score.
Okay.
Or you're going to take a ding off rip. That's just how it goes.
take a ding off rip, and you will take a ding if you decide to close it down later.
Yeah, do not close your credit accounts ever.
Is it a big ding?
Yeah. You just don't. It just looks. It's shown as a closed account. Loans are already going as closed accounts. Just because you pay off your loan, it shows as a closed account. You do take a ding to your credit score, but yeah, if you have credit cards, just literally keep them moving. Because if you don't have an annual fee, if you don't have to pay for that credit card, and it's just chilling there, then just let it chill there. Because then that credit
Yeah.
card, if you just have it sitting there for 5 years, it's gonna show that you have a whole credit history of 5 years. Which is good. The linked credit history is an important factor for credit score.
Okay.
That's why you keep it open, because then it closes it, and then now, like, let's just say you had an account that was open for, you have 2 accounts, right? You have an account that's open for 1 year, and then you have an account that's open for 5 years.
Yeah.
And you decide to close that 5-year account. At first, your credit length would have been like, oh, what's the math here? Okay.
Get
I'm
out the
not doing math
abacus.
there. But essentially, it just doesn't make sense to close your account, because then it just shortens your whole credit length.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is a good answer, and I feel like you answered it to the best of your ability with the knowledge that you have.
Yeah.
But a favor that I would have for next episode is if you could just briefly look into this specific Amazon Prime card and then tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Because then I'll make a decision from there. But I would just like, I
Things-
just want to make sure it's worth it. I'm scared to open up a new credit line
Yeah.
just because that's scary to do.
Simple. These are the things you want to look for. Annual fee. If there's an annual
Okay.
fee, because you want to keep your credit card always open. If there's an annual fee, you're going to end up paying that if you have your card open. You don't want to close your account. Like I'm saying, you're going to lower your credit history. So always want to have your account open, but you
Right.
don't want to be paying for your credit card. The whole point is to get some benefits off.
Which would be the annual fee, is if you're paying for the
annual
card.
fee, yeah.
Okay.
So to make sure the APR is not all that stuff, the APR and stuff does matter, but that's only if you don't pay it off well. If you're able to pay it off, you just pay it off in full on the due date every month, then you're good.
Yeah.
That's just the main thing to look for. The thing is, if there's a sign-on bonus, like you're saying, there's some bonuses that come with it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sign-on bonus is great.
And like I said, the sign-on bonus would allow us to have guests on the show.
Yeah, and there might
which is
be
kinda big.
and there might be some benefits on it. I'm sure it's probably an okay card to have. It's just as long as you plan on keeping it open, and if you use it, then there's even more benefit to it.
Okay. So it's not evil, it's not good, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, exactly.
depending on how you use it.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a maybe in my head. Because at first I was thinking it'd be a for sure if the Amazon card was a debit. Easy, bro.
Mm,
Like, just get it, get the interface and stuff. But the fact that it's a credit made me think a little bit more about the situation.
right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So, okay, I'll look into the annual rate because
yeah.
that's big.
Just what if there's an annual fee?
What about the percentages, like the APR?
APR and stuff, yeah, man. I mean, usually it should just be like under 30, but
Okay, and is that good? Is that okay if it's
high.
under 30?
It's high if it's at 30.
What's low, what's medium? I just need just a range,
It's gonna be probably
like 20.
usually credit cards are 20 something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 23 is like kind of on the lower, but 27 to 29 is on the higher for sure.
Okay.
Realistically, yeah, that's probably where it'd be. Just know annual fee's a big thing because you don't want to have to pay for it. Like that's the thing. If you just have like, yeah, you just that's the biggest thing. There's three factors really that there's a couple factors that go into the credit score, but the biggest thing is your utilization rate, how much of your credit you use. So if you get like $1,000 line, just make sure you're spending $300 or less. 30% is what you want to do with whatever your credit line is, your
Okay.
credit limit. Always spend that 30%. Utilization rate is like probably the most important thing. If you have a overall of 10,000, you want to keep it 3,000 and below. It's okay to spend that money. You just want to keep that debt under that, and it looks good because you're still using your cards. You don't just want to have your cards always like sitting there. You get more benefit out of using it. So that's the thing to think about. You don't want a bunch of useless cards just sitting there.
Right.
'Cause-
So like cashback or like, right, like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's good if there's percentages. You definitely want to look for some good stuff like that. Those are benefits like 2% on this, 1% on that. You know, those are definitely things to look for because then
Yeah.
it benefits using it. You actually get paid to use your card, and then if you're not paying annual fee, you're literally just getting paid to use your credit card, and you're boosting your credit score. That's the biggest benefit of it.
Okay.
So that's what you want to think and how much utilization you're using on it. Because if you keep it low, but you're still spending, they're going to increase your credit score because they feel comfortable. They're like, he's still using it, but he's not like using it
Like
in
an
a bad way.
excess.
Yeah, so we'll give him more so he can actually start spending more. Because then if you have 10,000, you can spend up to 3,000. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's the thing to look at your utilization rate. You want to look at
Okay.
your overall length of your credit history, like I was saying. That's why
Okay,
you don't.
how do you do that? What's the
So it just depends. It's gonna be the average. That's why I wasn't able to do the math in my head on the other thing. So
Okay.
it'd be like the average. If if you have a card that's open for 10 years and then you have a card that's open for 5 years, your credit history average would be 7.5 years.
Okay.
It'd be right in between. That would be your average.
So that would be your average, and then the balance you had would probably add into the average of cost and-
So it depends on the. So this is what I was saying. Let's say you have like this card, your first card that you've had forever. You had it for 10 years,
Mhm.
and then now you have this new card you had for 5 years. Your credit linked history is 7.5. The longer it is, the better it is because they've seen that this guy's been paying stuff for 7.5 years now,
Okay.
average. So that's solid. Like he's been doing that for 7.5 years. That's why the longer the better. But
Yeah.
if you close that 10-year account, now your average is 5 instead of that 7.5 because you only have one account. First of all, you don't have as many accounts. The more accounts you have open, it shows, we can balance different accounts. That's another thing that also contributes to your credit score. We can balance 3 accounts, and he's been paying these accounts off for 10 years, and he's paid them off fine. And he's been doing it for 10 whole years. That's the thing. But you close that 10-year account, and you only have your 5 account left. Now your average linked is 5 years. You just screwed yourself out at
Yeah.
2.5 years
Yeah.
on your average.
Okay.
So then it looks worse. Yeah.
Okay, so like you were doing before, can you quickly name off the things that I should be looking for? We already know that one of them is the APR. We already know that one of them is the annual rate.
Mhm.
And then what were the other 2 or 3?
APR, annual rate, and benefits. The benefits are
Benefits.
going to be like 2%, 1%. Usually cards that don't have annual fees and just kind of like good cards, not insanely crazy cards. Just kind of, starter good cards are going to be 1%. Very usual just for 1%.
Okay, wait, are we
Everything.
talking about cash back? Like,
Cashback.
Okay.
These are the benefits that are going to be. Cashbacks to the benefits. That's just generally what it's going to be.
Okay.
Or there might be like, if you have a certain card with like a certain bank, there might be benefits like mileage benefits. It might give you points.
Oh,
That might be how their cashback works. So my Chase works like that. It gives me points. And then on my points, I could actually use my points for a bunch of different things. I could use it for cashback. I could use it at a restaurant. I could, use it for a bunch of different stuff like
so it depends on the
gift
company
cards and whatever.
and what they're willing to offer, right? Like Amazon, I'm
Mhm.
sure will have a bunch of benefits that correlate to Amazon.com.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever card you have, it's just going to do that. Okay, so
Yeah,
then
you get travel points, stuff like that. Yeah,
okay, so you have APR, you have annual cost, you have benefits,
benefits.
and then what was that one you were talking about? That's the average, the accumulation of the time that you've had the card.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So those are the things you want to look for as an actual card. But
Okay.
and then there's the stuff credit in general, what you want to look at.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the stuff you want to look at credit in general is the utilization, length of credit history, how many accounts you have open, and if
Okay.
you have late payments.
And all of those are going to contribute to your credit score.
Yes, so that's
Okay.
why you want to think about that when you get a card too, because it's like, am I gonna have this card for a long time? Like, am I actually gonna use this card? Because the benefits are great. Like for
Mhm.
sure, I'm getting 2% cash back on gas. I'm definitely gonna be using this card.
Right. Right.
But the thing is, if you have two cards, one's 2% cash back and the other's 2% cash back, you're probably just better off using one card to do your 2% cash back. Because then you're going to get a higher credit limit on that specific card. Because that
Yeah.
one company's going to be like, all right, we're going to
Yeah.
bump this guy
Instead of
stuff up.
splitting it into two, where then they only see half.
Mhm.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because it does benefit you to have a bunch of more credit lines open, but good credit lines open.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is just having good credit lines. You don't want to have bad credit lines open. It just defeats the purpose of it. Because then you just have 5 accounts open, but they're not great accounts, versus you're better off to have like 2, 3 solid accounts open. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to get it, know that you're going to
Okay.
utilize it. You're actually going to, benefit from it as
Yeah.
well. That's the whole point of going into debt to then pay it off, is you should at least get some benefit from it.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a squirrel type of thought.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the AC going this whole time, and I really hope that that's not in the background of our vocals. If it is, I apologize to every listener out there.
Whoopsie.
But literally before, when you were gonna come over, I was gonna unplug the mini fridge. I was gonna turn off the AC so that there was no possible like any type of little sound. But anyways, that's just stuff that I freak out about. So I just wanted to put it out there.
Whoops.
It could be there, it could not be. I'm not sure. We'll
Something
see.
could happen.
Yeah.
Do you want to get up and turn it off now?
We're already at like 47 minutes, bro. Like,
Just send
It
it
might
so
make
it's
things even-
consistent.
but it might make so it's consistent because it might make things even more fucked up if I turn it off now, because then it's not going to be consistent all the way through, and I might be
Okay.
able to put a noise gate to get
Okay.
rid of it completely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Smart guy.
Hopefully it's good.
Sweet. But
Hopefully it's good.
anyways, yeah, that was my financial stuff.
I appreciate that, man.
Percentages,
I do
man.
appreciate
It's
that.
all percentage. Understand
Yeah.
percentages and all that stuff, and just how you're actually gonna utilize it. That's the whole point, man. I think, bro, the biggest piece of advice I'd give people to understand that stuff is to think long term.
Yes.
Longevity. It's everything. Like everyone says, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Think like that financially, 100%. Is how's this gonna benefit me in the long run? Am I gonna use this in whatever it is, like savings accounts, your cards, the
Mhm.
job? Like what realistically, how long would I stay, or what am I actually gonna benefit from this? What am I gonna make at the end of the day? That makes sure I'm covered, and that makes sure my future's good. Because you don't want to be always, in the rat race, like they say. Always just stuck in this loop where it's like, man, I just jump from here to there, and then I have to like
And you don't-
reset. It's like a reset
Yeah.
every now and then.
And like if you go to the next place and you don't make any adjustments, then
Mhm.
it's just going to be the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, just long-term plays, make your money work for you. Eventually, do it now while we're, our age. That's the biggest thing I always say, is think long-term, but you have to do it now and invest in the present so
Yeah.
that it actually accumulates
Yeah.
into the future.
Yeah.
That's what that's how it works. It compounds, it accumulates into the future. You just have to make the money work for you, and the more you put in now, it's just
Mhm.
going to be way crazier, in the future. to have it
Definitely.
there.
And we do touch on that on episode 3. Check that out if you guys haven't yet.
Check it
But
out.
we do touch on Bitcoin because it did hit 100K. We were riffing on that.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
pretty sick.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I don't know if we should
all
bring
that
it up
stuff.
again, but
But yeah, no, I mean all that stuff, any of the financial stuff. That's the thing. If you're gonna invest into
Yeah.
Bitcoin, if you're gonna do it for the short term, get your money. But then again, you're thinking about getting your money now to thus have it long term. But you have to do your
Yeah.
research and your education. If you don't go that deep into it, just play long term. Make sure you know what you're doing for sure. But long term's a lot easier because you're just betting on in the long term that there's growth, and then whenever you need to get your money out, you can.
100%.
That's the biggest thing.
I would tell people to do the long game, but that's just my strat.
Yeah.
You know, just so that there's less stress about it. Like if you're day trading, there's a lot more stress about like every day you have to check it in, figure out when's the best time to take it out. But if you're long term, bro, you just have the money in there and you let it cook, bro.
Yeah, no, totally.
Let him cook.
Yeah, and it's good to do both because the more that if you can accumulate more in the present, in the short term, it actually benefits your long term. Because the more money that you're making, you can put away a lot more, so then it actually benefits that long term. So it's good to think about both.
Yeah.
Big time what you're doing now. That's why I say think in the present. What you're making now is going to make it better in the future. You don't want to be making hardly any money now because then you can't put enough away. Because it's really like I said, it's down to percentages. When you look and you're like, man, I got $100 in my savings. When I get 5% of that annually, it's only, $5. You're not really going to be like, oh, that's sick. I'm really like, okay, I can see the potential in this. That's the thing. When you get more money to work with and it starts compounding, it's good to just put something in, but if you get more and it starts compounding, now if you just have $1,000 in there, like, oh man, at least made $50, and then people that have 100,000 are making 5Gs just off of it sitting in there.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking about it that way, it's like, okay, it's just percentages. I have to stack this money up to this point, but you have to have the money to stack up and have to make it work in a certain way. So you have to get clever in the present. On how that's actually gonna benefit the long term. But thinking long term, you can create a plan. Once you create a plan, you just break it down all the way down to what you have to do every day to thus hit your goals every week, every month, every year. And then you're good. You're just set introductory to where you need to go. You actually know the numbers. That's the thing. Numbers, if you just do the math, then you know, okay, I do this, I get this.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's the thing. People are in a hourly mindset a lot of the time because if you just work, boom, this hourly, you already know what you get. It's easy math.
Yeah.
People don't have to think about it that much.
Yeah, but I think people also don't realize their potential when that happens a lot of the times.
Totally.
They're capable of like so much more, and it's fine as like a temporary thing, or if you want to do that just as like a job. But like, I feel like a lot of the times people don't realize the power in themselves to change their circumstances. Is that kind of going off topic? I'm not quite sure.
No, 100%. That's what it is, man. That's absolutely what I'm talking about because it can be brought down to like a mathematical place to where you just do the math and you know the cause and effect of the situation. You can. That's the cool thing about financials. You can actually bring it down to that. You know what your effort is.
Yeah.
You can leverage your effort to get this out of it. That's why people say work smarter, not harder a lot of the times. Is if you can do something in a more efficient way, that's really what they're talking about. Do something in a more efficient way, which means it goes back to the thing I was saying, it's your time, money, and energy. To be more efficient, you spend less money, or you spend less time, or you spend less energy doing it. So once you figure that out, now we automate stuff a lot. When we automate stuff, it saves us so much time, money, and energy. That's the whole point of doing all this stuff. So the more you can automate your stuff, and by doing that, you create literally a system and a formula. That's what math is.
100%.
You create a formula where all you got to do once you create the formula is press play.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just stick to the formula, and that's what I get at the end.
And dude, like, I could not stop thinking about like the podcast process when you were talking about that, because it's like all of it is trying to streamline, bro. You know what I mean? When I said that we shouldn't move the mics too much because it creates a weird sound in post, streamlining. When you figure out that, okay, we have a video file and an audio file, and the audio file doesn't match to the video file, you're learning, you're making it more streamlined. Like all of this stuff, and then it's going to make it a lot easier, bro, once we do have like a producer, because then we can sit them down and be like, these are all of the problems that you're going to face, and this is how you solve all of them. If you find anything new, hit us up. But like we've been crash coursing this thing for a while, and we know how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's awesome that you're like bringing that into the podcast stuff because that's exactly what it is. That's why I asked like, are you becoming more efficient in it? And you said yes. Like that's now you're looking at it where you're saying you're looking at it in a time frame where it's like, boom, my time's money.
Yeah, because it's scaring me, bro. It's like once I start working, like how are we going to like keep this thing going, like on weeks when I have 3 days off or 4 days off? How is it going to continually run as a machine? You know? And a part of it definitely helps when we like keep the conversation going and there's less cuts in it, obviously, because then there's just less to edit.
Yeah.
But that just depends on a day-to-day thing. That's kind of like more of the depending ones.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of things that that we can control. And yeah, I just, like I was saying, I just need it to be more streamlined because right now
Yes.
I've just been putting so much time and energy into it that I think it will be beneficial because even if people go back to our old episodes, they'll see that they're still legit. But it's just hard because there's also other aspirations I have, like music and all of that, you know?
Totally. Yeah, exactly, dude. And it's cool because all of that boils down to literally IQ, and that's what IQ is becoming, more efficient at using, the intelligence you learn
Yeah.
from. You have to get out in the field and do it,
Yes.
or you need to observe and intake all the information. But the more you do that, the better you get at intaking information, and
Exactly.
you become more intelligent because you're more efficient
Yeah.
at realizing, oh, this is the problem, let's solve it. Once you get that, dude, and you just literally have
Problem
that, now you have
solve.
your formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, problem solving is a formula, and there's different formulas for different things. But if you get good at doing that math, which is
Yes.
breaking those things down and creating that formula,
Yeah.
then boom, you're just more efficient and a more intelligent human on how you operate through the world. And that's actually one thing you said that was really cool was problem solving. That literally pulls you into now the present and the future because you're now not thinking, oh, this is the pattern I've seen in the past
Yeah.
that has caused all of this stuff, because that's thinking in a past mindset, which
Exactly.
can be beneficial, but you have to make it beneficial and then now be like, okay, this is what's happened in the past. Now I'm thinking present and future. What do I have to do now to
Yes.
change that? So then that's no longer what's actually going on anymore. Change
it's
the pattern. And it's
100%.
uncomfortable, but that's literally realizing that there is a pattern in the past can be beneficial. You just have to take that moment, which is when it's kind of back to the fight or flight. It's like, okay, fight, because the best way to actually navigate these things is to get feedback. And feedback, you have to go at it to learn something. You have to do
Yes.
the actual thing
Yeah.
and break the pattern.
Yeah, you can't become the ultimate like podcaster unless you start doing episodes and you start learning and start doing these things with anything, bro.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people think that they can, right? And that's like one of the things that they talk about, which I've fallen victim to a couple times, is like when people are like, okay, we need like the best equipment and like the best of all this stuff, instead of focusing on actually doing the thing, they're just focused on everything that they'll need to do the thing,
Right.
which sets them back.
Yeah, it's just too much thinking instead of doing. That's what they say.
Yeah,
Just
bro.
do it. Literally, that action, just taking action and doing it. And that's cool sometimes. Back to when we were talking about all the relationship stuff, is when you have multiple people, you can kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, it's time to take action. We bounce these ideas off of each other because we're trying to problem solve. We're communicating to be productive. It's not
Yes.
just to communicate. It's
Yes.
a productive thing. So then that's when it can become more beneficial to thus get those goals and knock out those things and break those patterns and solve those problems. Really, it helps because you now have two different perspectives,
Yeah.
and then you could have two different skill sets coming in, and
Yes.
if the overall intelligence of the group or the setting or the people you're working with
Yeah.
is high in different fields, you can bring all those things together to then come up with the even better solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's even what I like about our situation. I could totally see that in a relationship way too. But even with ours, bro, sometimes I'll need a different perspective just on like the thumbnail, because I'll make it and I'll be like, I think this is fucking sick, but I've also been staring at this screen for the past 2 hours.
Right.
So I could be totally in the fucking loops of things.
Yes.
And then I can send it to you and I can get that affirmation that like either yes, it is good, or it needs changes, or like whatever that is.
Exactly.
And then I put that trust in you. To give me like your thoughts and perspective, and then we go from there.
Exactly. And you know what that is? And this is back to the word I just said, feedback.
Yeah.
We always ask
Yeah.
for it. What is your opinion? What is your
100%.
feedback? People in business, they ask, what is the feedback? What's the customer feedback?
Yeah.
Because that's being understanding. That's a good relationship between customer, consumer,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call those people, that's what it is that feedback, because is really so important in everything. And I've even been realizing that that's what we're looking for in life. And to get that, you have to take the action to thus get more immediate feedback. If it's just in your head, you're not actually getting that reality. It's a lot easier for people to grasp once they do the thing, and then being more efficient and like, okay, let me evaluate, get this feedback that I've had. You could listen to other people's perspective, which is great to hear from other people, and then you got to do it yourself, and then it's better to evaluate and combine both perspectives, because then you have your own
Yes.
perspective, inside perspective, outside perspective, and then you can use both of those feedbacks to be more intelligent in the way that you actually maneuver through the world. That's literally
Yeah.
intelligence. It's how you process feedback and
Ah,
emotionally as well. So that's why they talk about IQ and EQ.
right.
The way you process feedback emotionally is another thing as well.
Yes.
EQ, the emotional quota, is like we said earlier, not getting upset. It's being like,
Right.
okay, don't get upset in this. I have to be able to accept this feedback in a way that is actually, a bit beneficial. It's productive. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the funny thing
Constructive
too, how
feedback.
like, yeah, dude, and EQ can change like on a daily basis, depending on what like state you're in too.
Exactly. So if you have that consistently over time, if you think about really good leaders and people we look up to,
Mm-hmm.
they're consistently just like on top of it, calm, poised, like literally
Yeah.
focused.
Yeah, because
They-
I
they
think
don't
low
break
EQ
that.
is
Yeah.
like reactionary. It's like you have this
Yes,
thought, you react
yes.
off of it instead of being like, okay, what is this? And then
Yes.
go from there.
Break it down to these simple things, and life is just way easier because you understand it. Less stressful, because stress is a big thing I see with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Huge thing. Anger, stress.
Yeah.
And
Anxiety.
these are just emotions that if you understand how to overcome these emotions
Mhm.
and you're in a problem solving standpoint, because they all come from past memories and stuff that has happened to people, that's trauma and all this stuff. To overcome these things is literally to put yourself in the present, which is to become the problem
Yes.
solver, and to become
Yeah.
control of your life, which is to get out of that victim mentality, to say, I have the intelligence and I'm able to control my emotions and use them in such a way to actually benefit my life. And that's, thinking in the positive.
And becoming a new person because now you have a different perspective, which is totally fine because that's how you get better.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like learning more. The more information you have to pull from, and we're in the information era, it's everywhere, man. We
Yeah.
got it on our phone right here. The more you utilize that, you can become so intelligent compared to people in the past. We've been given this gift to be able to learn all these things and utilize them in such a way to be beneficial to, ourselves and everybody around us, and then for everybody in the world as well. That's the cool thing about the information, that we have an opportunity to become
Mhm.
very intelligent if we look and dive deep and do the actual research
Yeah.
and look at it from that perspective of like, oh, I'm just going to look at this and that's the solution. No, when you actually find a solution, it's a lot of digging, it's a lot of research, a lot of looking into like, how do I really solve this problem so it doesn't come up again? Because then it's just reoccurring problems.
Yeah.
You have to come up, there are temporary solutions. Sometimes that's the move for a lot of things, but you want to come up with the best solution possible. And to do that takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more energy that you got to put in to actually find that solution. And I
Yeah,
respect
true.
every people we look up to are people that do that in the world.
Yeah, everyone that we idolize has just solved a certain amount of problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
Isn't that
literally
crazy?
down to that when you boil it down. And that's how I like to look at life. Is that's the thing, is you dive deep and you find all these things,
Yeah.
but eventually you break up all these things down to
Yes.
one thing. That's the point.
A big one for me, bro, was like, is a kid, and I think this is a pretty common thing, but you look at everybody that has influencer power is someone that was just born like that or different,
Mm.
which takes any responsibility off of yourself to become anything like that. But it's just the easier thing to do. And then once you realize that actually every person is the same and they were in the same boat, but they just utilized what they had differently, it does a lot of things for you. It gives you respect for anybody that's ever made anything because you know that they had to do it. There's nothing that like comes easy to people. Some people might blow up sooner than other people, but those people that blow up sooner are going to have to be able to learn a lot quicker.
Yes.
And like,
Yeah.
yeah, bro.
You have to be more resourceful. Those people have to be a lot more resourceful with limited information and stuff. Big respect for those people, because
Mhm.
there are people in that situation.
Yeah, and you
And
see
it's
the
hard
ones
to break
that
that.
where it doesn't work out, people that blow up right away.
Mhm.
And then they think it's all like this and then they fall off. But then people that have had to build this thing over a long period of time, they don't fall off because they know what the business is.
Exactly. They have a more solid foundation and structure. The thing is, if
Yeah,
you
they
don't
know
have
how
that
to deal
solid
with the
foundation,
failure.
yeah, they actually built up a solid building
Yeah.
that's solid. It's not just thrown up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's layers to this, and I built each one, you know, actually efficiently and
Yes,
in such
to
a way.
suit
Yeah.
your lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. To suit your own lifestyle. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. You're planning to build this building. That's your life.
Yes.
Think long term. What are we trying to build every part here, you know?
Yeah, and it's so motivating too, because like we said, if people that we look up to, we look up to them just because they've been able to solve a certain amount of problems. That gives a lot of like hope to like us, because it's like, okay, so all that means is that we have to solve a couple more problems. It might feel like it's a lot more than that, but it's really not.
Right.
And if you solve these couple things, you'll get better and better and better to the point where if you want to be in the limelight, people will notice
Yeah.
and they'll look at you like an example.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that people that make other people's lives easier, they get benefited more from it, and they are remembered more from that. People, yeah, that we look up to. And if you want to be one of those people, then you have to think how you benefit others. That's the thing.
Yeah. How do you benefit others? How do you benefit yourself? Are you your own worst enemy, or are you actually helping yourself through these things?
Because for me, I benefit, you know, selfishly in a way from actually helping others, because it does make me feel good. I can use that emotion to actually, you know, fuel my life and get a lot of stuff done. Just that emotion of like
Yeah.
gratitude that, hey, I
Yeah.
made somebody's life better and more positive in such a way that fuels my own life. So in such a way, it is selfish. It's that give and take of life, you know, where we're actually, it's that collaboration that we're both, you know, doing it in that
Yeah,
way,
bro.
by you helping someone and by them accepting your help.
And this is just us going through it and kind of like reporting our experiences and what we feel like could help people too.
100%, man.
And dog, I got to take a fat whiz, but before I do, is there anything that you want to bring up or talk about or anything like that?
No, I think that was good, bro. I just want to say, like, that's the blueprint for me that I've tried to like put together for life, and I hope that can like benefit people, because my goal in life, like I've told you, is to just positively impact as many people as I can. And I think to do that is to create a beneficial system and belief that will actually help people, because that's what it comes down to, is a formula, a system of belief. That's how you help a bunch of people, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And that is, I believe, how you lead by example, is by creating a whole system and by sticking by that system and saying, this is what I believe in, this is what I think, you know, would be beneficial to people. Utilize, take some of these things and create your own formula to your life. But yeah, I really hope that, you know, these kind of things help people, and that's my goal with it, you know.
Yeah.
I think with talking about things and communicating, I think the goal is to help the overall people.
I
You know
agree.
what I mean?
I have a very similar goal. Like mine is to make a difference, which is the same thing, but also to turn up, have fun on the
Turn
way,
up.
dude.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Do some crazy ass shit. Like
That's the point, I think, too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to enjoy the ride, too. I feel like that's the point, is the experience. It's such an important thing. Enjoy the present, because it's right here. That's where all the power is.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to experience all this stuff, you know? So yeah, just be grateful around this time, like we're saying, for Christmas
And around every time.
and every day.
Because it's your ability to feel gratitude and these other positive emotions is going to be like your ability to basically succeed.
Yeah, that's exactly. Learn how to control your emotions. Learn how to control the information you get. That's how you become more intelligent. And the IQ and EQ are like talking about. Those are the formulas, man. You get those things down, your life will be awesome. You'll have that sense of freedom because you have understanding and more control of life.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's why, like, at a young age, life's been pretty good, you know. I've really not, like, gone through stress and anxiety. Every time I've had that, I've really tried to deal with it. And I realized what it was to help me deal with it. And that's what it is, because now you just push that button. I'm like, here it is. Boom. We good. Yeah, and I think going into the new year, I know we have, like, all the New Year stuff that people think about, too, around that time 100%. As well. Coming up with a game plan. I love that about New Year's, though. That is one thing I do like about the beginning of it. Is like, all right, we're in the mindset. We got to make it happen, you know? Come up with a game plan.
100%. Yeah. And speaking of that, bro, I guess people will see this at the New Year's, but I went a full year with no vaping, dog.
Oh, nice.
Full year, dog.
Okay. Congrats, dude.
You know, I did add the Zins in there, but my goal personally was just not to vape because the vaping made my insides hurt.
Yeah.
And now they don't. So.
Oh, there you go. That's a big
That's
win,
one
dude.
thing.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Well, I think that was a good chat, bro.
I think so, too.
Good pod, my boy.
All right.
All right.
I can't really focus.
Yeah, get out of here, dude.
So.
Skedaddle. Deuces.